Hello Internet, this is Sophia and welcome to my first ever Internet meme review. This is a response video of sorts, but instead of being a response to somebody else's video, it is a response to various memes I find on the internet. And it can include all sorts of memes, from bat crazy ones that I want to tear to pieces, to memes that are mostly on the spot but have a little critical thing that I need to point out and maybe correct, and can potentially also include memes that maybe I just want to include just in order to congratulate them. And of course, I'm not likely to do one of these meme reviews for just one meme because it's quite rare that a single meme has enough for me to make a whole video dedicated to it. So instead, I'll wait until I accumulate enough memes together that I will have enough material to make a video. So, without any further ado, let's start with this gem that was posted to Facebook by a certain Mike Cushman. And it reads as follows: "Just a shot in the dark. Wouldn't it be better to actually teach history than to erase it?" Anyone who does not know what this is referring to obviously has either been hiding under a rock for quite a while by now, or they have absolutely no ability to recognize dog whistles when they hear them. This is clearly a reference to the demolition of statues of people who have done reprehensible things in the past, claiming that the removal or demolition of these statues or other monuments somehow constitutes an erasure of history. And being the smart aleck that I am, I naturally had a response. But this response I will discuss in this new installment of Fallacy Exposed. And the fallacy that I exposed is named in the response that I typed to this meme when I saw it, and that is, "And here's my shot in the dark. Wouldn't it be better to argue against what the other side is actually pushing for rather than against a straw man caricature?" That's right. The fallacy used in this meme is the straw man fallacy. It is a fallacy that you commit when, instead of arguing against what your opponent is actually saying, you instead argue with a weaker caricature of that position, whether it be a weaker caricature of their end conclusion or of the argument leading up to it. And the thing is, people who are pushing for these statues and monuments to be gotten rid of are not trying to erase history. Because let's get one fact straight. Statues and monuments are not the way in which we remember our history. We remember our history through history books, documentaries, things like that. When you erect a statue or a monument, that is not in order to remember something. That is in order to honor something. And things that we honor, we need to make sure that they deserve to be honored. But I absolutely do not recommend book burning, and I do not think that the vast majority of people who want those monuments taken down advocate book burning. Even books that never should have been written, we still need to make sure that there are still enough copies of them that we have records of the fact that, however, unfortunately, they were written. And that means even Mein Kampf, I don't want all the copies of Mein Kampf to be destroyed. However, if it were to top the chart of the recommended summer reading lists, I would be scared less. And by that I mean more so than I already am. The second meme that I will be reviewing doesn't contain anything that is wrong or objectionable in and of itself. However, it does contain some reflection of something that is somewhat up in society as a whole. And I don't know whether that's even with or without the conscious awareness of the author of this meme. However, since it is reflecting something that is up in society, that is enough for me to have something to comment about regarding this meme. And here it is. Above you see captions that read, "A cartoon from a British newspaper. This is how the world sees it." And below that you see a cartoon that's drawn in a style that's the style is over a century old, but very clearly, due to the subject matter portrayed in this meme, it is in itself, the cartoon was drawn very recently, couldn't have been more than a month or so old, probably maybe even no more than a week or so old. There is a lot going on in the picture portrayed in the cartoon, far more than I could ever be expected to put into words, but I'll try to give a brief summary. You see a lot of really largely built police officers in riot gear with their police sticks out. You see one of them violently shoving Uncle Sam down, and Uncle Sam's hat is falling off from being pushed down so violently. The police are trampling on a person of color who is now also knocked down to the floor, as is his Black Lives Matter sign that the police are stepping on. And riding the police like there's some kind of a steed is Trump holding up a Bible upside down. And anyways, it's a very busy cartoon that has much more in it than I can be expected to explain in every detail. And I'm also not going to explain everything that this picture is in reference to, because if you don't already know, you've been living under a rock these last few months. However, I will point to something that really caught my eye this time, and that is how extremely white Uncle Sam is portrayed as. I mean, seriously, are any of the white people you know this white? And really, it's no mystery why the artist of this cartoon portrayed Uncle Sam in such a manner. They simply were using the standard depiction of Uncle Sam that has been around at least since World War I. This war recruitment poster is one of the earliest known uses of that particular portrayal of Uncle Sam. Of course, earlier portrayals of Uncle Sam were also very white, which is to be expected since in those days people who made decisions weren't in the habit of asking themselves whether a personification of the whole United States should maybe be representative of more than just the white portion of the United States. But seriously, that portrayal of Uncle Sam is over a century old, and even though the people who made the decisions weren't in the habit of thinking of these things back then, today we are, and it might be time to maybe expand Uncle Sam to represent all of the United States of America and not just the white portion of it. Of course, this commentary is not specific about this particular cartoon, but is rather about the way that Uncle Sam is portrayed in general. It's just that this cartoon gave occasion to discuss that issue. Now, the third and final meme that I will be sharing with you is one that I am pretty much supportive of. And originally I was thinking that I have no criticisms of it at all. However, as I began preparing to review this meme, I realized that I do have one slight criticism, and that is that there is something that for some reason it left out. As a matter of fact, it left out more than one thing that it should have included. And I'm referring, of course, to this meme, which is put out by a group, or should I actually say a group of groups, known as the International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions. This meme has a lot of important things that you should do when looking at a story or a report to minimize the risk of spreading misinformation. It reminds us to do everything from making sure that the story comes from a source and author that can be trusted, to simply refraining from passing on parody news from satire sites such as The Onion as though they were the real deal. But there's a few things that they left out or didn't emphasize enough. For example, when they mentioned to check your biases, they should have been a bit more clear that this applies no matter where the you are on the political spectrum. Because there's a good chance that this entire list, people on the right will read it and think that it's talking about how people on the left need to do these things more, while people on the left will look at it and think that it's people on the right that the list is referring exclusively to. Either way, you are right and you are wrong. Whether you are on the left or the right or anywhere in between, you have to check your biases and be aware that you are instinctively more prone to give credence to stories that affirm your point of view than those that don't, and you need to watch out to make sure that that is not leading you astray. Also, the part about checking your biases should have been emphasized a bit more, just for the simple effect that it has on other things. For example, you remember back where it says to check your source, check the author? Well, you have to also have a way to know which sources and authors you can trust. And you have to have a way to make that assessment without basing it on which ones confirm your biases. Where it says to check the date of an article, it should also add there a note to webmasters that when they design the theme of their website, they should not design it in a way that makes it impossible. I have seen way too many websites who simply didn't include the date on anywhere in the display of their articles. Frankly, that is irresponsible, and there should have been a note to that effect in this meme as well. And last but not least, they forgot to mention that if you have a friend who is doing these things, don't treat that friend like a traitor to the cause the moment that they are slow to forward something or to click share on something that you have your heart on because they don't have enough facts to be sure that it is authentic, or when they tell you that a certain story that you forwarded doesn't check out or can't be verified. It does not mean that they care any less about the issues that you care about. It just means that they are diligently doing the job that you should be doing as well. Anyways, there are a lot of juicy memes that I found and which were suggested to me that would have made for some really good commentary. However, I figured that for my very first internet meme review, I'd limit it to just 3 memes, and so that'll be all for now. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment in the comments area below. Make sure that you're subscribed to this channel and that the bell icon is active so as to increase the chance that you will be notified when I add new videos to this channel in the future. Make sure that you share this video with your friends, both on social media as well as by any other means. And until next time, see ya!